The fun they had. The story we shall read is set in the future, when books and schools as we now know them will perhaps not exist. So, how will children study then? The diagram below may give you some ideas. Now, learning through computers will be there, virtual classrooms will be there, robotic teachers will be there, and the text would be moving like as they are moving here on the screen. Maggie even wrote about it that night in her diary. Some people write in diaries, so she used to make diary. So she entered on the date 17th May 2157. She wrote, "Today Tommy found a real book. It was a very old book. Maggie's grandfather once said that when he was a little boy, his grandfather told him that there was a time when all the stories were printed on paper. They turned the pages, which were yellow and crinkly. Crinkly here you can see the footnotes here. The side note rather I can call them now because it is on the side here. So crinkly means with many folds or lines. So they turned the pages which were yellow and crinkly, and it was awfully funny to read words that stood still instead of moving the way they were supposed to on a screen, you know. And then when they turned back to the page before, so it had the same words on it that it had when they read it the first time. So the words did not change. They were similar as they had read for the first time. He said Tommy, "What a waste. When you are through with the book, you just throw it away." Means like as we conserve forest, trees, the same way Tommy was also feeling that they used to waste paper, and paper is made up of trees, wood. So Gee said Tommy, "What a waste." So when you are through with the book, you just throw it away. I guess means he was guessing that what they would be doing. Our television screen must have had a million of books on it. Means if we wish to save, we can save many, and it is good for plenty more. More can be saved there. So I wouldn't throw it away. Same with mine, Margie said. So she was 11 and hadn't seen as many telebooks as Tommy had. He had read many books, but Margie had not. So he was 13 years old. She said, "Where did you find it?" So in my house, he pointed without looking because he was busy reading. So in the attic. So what is it about? School. So Margie was scornful. Means contemptuous. Showing like something is worthless, useless. So what is there to write about school? I hate school. Maggie always hated school, but now she hated it more than ever. So what was the problem? Because the mechanical teacher had been giving her test after test in geography, and she had been doing worse and worse until her mother had shaken her head sorrowfully. Now mother thought that something is wrong, and she called county inspector, a specialist, and she sent for the county inspector. He was a round little man with a red face and a whole box of tools with dials and wires. So he smiled at Maggie and gave her an apple, then took the teacher apart, then he opened that teacher. So this is mechanical teacher, not real teacher. Okay. So Maggie had hoped he would not know how to put it together again. So why she wanted this? Because if He doesn't know at all. The mechanical teacher is just open only and it is not working. It is not mendable. She wished, but he knew how, all right. And after an hour or so, there it was again, large and black and ugly. Why she is calling ugly? Because she did not like it. With a big screen on which all the lessons were shown and the questions were asked. That wasn't so bad. The part Maggie hated most was the slot where she had to put homework and test papers. She always had to write them out in a punch code they made her learn when she was 6 years old. And the mechanical teacher calculated the marks in no time. So this was in general. She had to punch codes, and these codes were read by the mechanical teacher, and the mechanical teacher would calculate her marks very quickly. The inspector had smiled after he was finished and patted Maggie's head. So he said to her mother, "It's not the little girl's fault, Mrs. Jones. I think the geography sector was geared a little too quick. Those things happen sometimes. I have slowed it up to an average 10-year level. Actually, the overall pattern of her progress is quite satisfactory." And he patted Maggie's head again. Maggie was disappointed. Why? Because the mechanical teacher is all right now. So she had been hoping they would take the teacher away altogether. They had once taken Tommy's teacher away for nearly a month because the history sector had blanked out completely. So she was hoping that they would take this also away. So she said to Tommy, "So why would anyone write about school?" Tommy looked at her with very superior eyes because it's not our kind of school, stupid. This is the old kind of school that they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago. He added loftily. Loftily means in a superior way. So pronouncing the word carefully. Centuries ago. Maggie was hurt. Well, I don't know what kind of school they had all that time ago. So she read the book over his shoulder for a while. She was standing and she was reading from the back. And then said, "Anyway, they had a teacher." Sure, they had a teacher, but it wasn't a regular teacher. It was a man. Regular teacher means as they had. A man? So how could a man be a teacher? Well, he just told the boys and girls things, means he used to give lectures and gave them homework and asked them questions. A man isn't smart enough. Now she's comparing with a robotic teacher. So sure he is. My father knows as much as my teacher. But he knows almost as much, I betcha. Betcha means like I can bet you. So Maggie wasn't prepared to dispute that. She was not ready to contradict. She said, "I wouldn't want a strange man in my house to teach me." So now she was thinking that he must be living there. No. Tommy screamed with laughter. "You don't know much, Maggie. The teacher didn't live in the house. They had a special building and all the kids went there. And all the kids learned the same thing. Sure, if they were the same age. But my mother says, cut here. And all the kids learn the same thing. Sure, if they were the same age. But my mother says a teacher has to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and girl it teaches, and that each kid has to be taught differently. Just the same, they didn't do it that way then. That time they did not do that way. So if you don't like it, now Tommy is asking that if you don't like then don't read it. So if you don't like it, you don't have to read the book. I didn't say I didn't like it, Maggie said quickly. She wanted to read about those funny schools. They weren't even half finished when Maggie's mother called, Maggie, school. Maggie looked up. Not yet, Mama. No, said Mrs. Jones. And it is probably time for Tommy too. Perhaps this is time for Tommy also. Maggie said to Tommy, can I read the book some more with you after school? Maybe, he said nonchalantly. Nonchalantly means not showing much interest or enthusiasm, just carelessly. So he walked away whistling, the dusty old book tucked beneath his arm. So Maggie went into the schoolroom. So where it was? It was right next to her bedroom. And the mechanical teacher was on and waiting for her. So it was always on at the same time, like a timer was set. So except Saturday and Sunday. So these were her holidays. Because her mother said little girls learn better if they learned at regular hours. The screen was lit up and it said, today's arithmetic lesson is on. Like metallic sound. I'm just pretending. Okay. So now this was like on the screen, it was written there. So today's arithmetic lesson is on the addition of proper fractions. And you know what are proper fractions? When numerator is smaller than the denominator, they are proper fractions. And this was taught to her. This was about to be taught now. So please insert. But before we go further, insert yesterday's homework in the proper slot. So Maggie did so with a sigh. She was thinking about the old school days. She thought that old school days were better. So they had when her grandfather's grandfather was a little boy. So all the kids from the whole neighborhood came laughing and shouting in the schoolyard, sitting together in the schoolroom, going home together at the end of the day. So they learned the same things. So they could help one another with the homework and talked about it. And the teachers were people. The mechanical teacher was flashing on the screen. So when we add fraction 1 by 2 and 1 by 4, then further, the lesson was like this. So Maggie was thinking about how the kids must have loved it in the old days. She was thinking about the fun they had. This is written by Isaac Asimov.